Hey, welcome back to Ryan Flies, where we're building the Vans RV-7A experimental home-built aircraft. Some of the first steps on the rudder construction are preparing the stiffeners for the skins of the rudder. So each side has about 8 of these angle pieces that need to be cut and trimmed and then riveted back to this. So I've constructed this jig that should help me get a tapered angle on the end of the stiffeners. I couldn't be happier with how it's cut. You can see I got a nice straight line. It's much better than doing it by hand. I'm gonna go ahead and finish them up. Now we just got to take progressive amounts of everything from this one up off of the ends of these so that they actually fit, and do the same for the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these, go back over there, cut them down, and then we can take them to the bench grinder and get them all deburred and ready to rivet. Now we've got a match drill and cleco all of these stiffeners in place. These skins are really thin, and one thing that I'm trying to avoid is an effect called oil canning, where we get imperfections and sort of waviness in the skin of the aluminum. One of the methods that we're going to fight that with is keeping everything flat against this table. So when we're drilling, I'm actually going to drill into and cleco into the table. Similarly, when we back rivet, I'm going to recess the back rivet plate into this table so everything can be kept really, really flat. First side is drilled. I'm going to go ahead and, while I have it out, lightly, because it's so thin, deburr it, and then I'll get it swapped for the other skin, and we'll get that one done, and then we're going to prime it and start riveting. So we're about halfway through match drilling the left-hand side rudder skin. It will go ahead and get deburred, and then we're off to prime it. Just a note, you'll see me dimpling with the blue plastic still on the skins. This is a practice I've since ceased doing. You will get dimples that aren't quite as crisp, so in future videos you might see a slightly different workflow. Now a quick wash with pre-coat. These babies are ready for primer. If I haven't mentioned it before, I'll say it again. I'm a real big fan of the pre-coat and the Axo Noble primer. I find both really easy, not very time consuming for what you're doing. It dries incredibly fast. The pre-coat is not a harsh chemical that requires a lot of protection. The primer is, however, but it's incredibly durable and quick drying. I'd highly recommend both. Hey folks, so the skin and stiffeners are primed. They've cured for a couple days. We're ready to start riveting. Before we start riveting, I gotta modify my table a little bit. I want to inset this back riveting plate so that it's flush with the rest of the table so that I can continue to keep these skins as flat as possible. So I'm gonna router out a little bit of the table, make a pocket for this to sit in, and then we'll get going on some riveting. So a little disclaimer here, one of the tools I'm lacking in my toolbox is an actual router. So you can see me using a Dremel tool with a sideways cutting bit. Spoiler alert, it worked, but it certainly took longer than I would have liked and wasn't exactly as clean as I would have liked. skins are done. I'm really happy with how they came out, how flat they are. We're not out of the woods yet. Part of making sure these stay that way is getting the skeleton really straight and true. Also, the trailing edge has a huge amount to do with how straight this comes out. And so we'll want to use the same principles for that. Keeping everything flat, Clico to the table when able, and having our riveting order down. I'm going to start in on the skeleton now. So if you're wondering what I'm doing here, there's a bracket that'll wind up holding the control linkages. The bracket needs a radius on one side to fit within the bend radius of the matching skeleton component. That radius had to be filed off, and it took quite a bit of time. Getting the rudder together. I got the skins on. And I'm getting really excited. This part is really cool and it's coming out very, very well. I couldn't be happier with how it looks. We now have to match drill it, and then unfortunately soon here we're gonna have to disassemble it all, dimple it, prep it to prime, but soon we'll be putting it together for real and for one final time. If you're watching this wondering what the heck I'm doing with that bandsaw, that's the same thought I have rewatching it. And I knew at the time that I was not using the tool properly and really asking for disaster. The part was a total loss, which bummed me out, but my fingers weren't, which was good, always important. Also, I had to replace the blade in the bandsaw as it was damaged. So all in all, not a great day in the shop, but I think I certainly learned from it, and I wanted to share with you, so hopefully you can too. And on that relatively discouraging note, we're going to go ahead and break for this video. Good news is the part was relatively inexpensive. It's in stock. We'll get it put back together next time on Ryan Flies. Thank you.